Okay, so first question comes from @Brittany Rizika asking, how much do you love your wife?
The question is, how much do I love my wife? Brittany Rizika is a unique person to ask that question, considering it is my wife. The answer is to the moon and back. She is the light of my life. I couldn't imagine doing anything without her. I love her more than anything in the world, and I love my boys. I feel extremely blessed and lucky to have all of them, and I love you, Brittany.
Hey, Amendola asking, how can I maximize strength and still maintain optimal mobility?
How do you maximize strength and still maintain optimal mobility? So just to maximize strength, we typically will think about doing heavier weight. But when we think about doing heavier weight, we're gonna have to take longer rest breaks. If we're doing high intensity interval training, we don't take as long rest breaks because we're trying to get more blood flow to the muscles, more blood perfusion to the muscles. That's gonna make the muscles grow, and we also get our cardio in at the same time. But if we want to maximize our strength, we're going to have to take longer rest breaks so we allow our glycogen stores to fill back up so we can push and have more strength coming out. So that's on the strength side, and then maintaining optimal mobility. We're gonna have to do some form of stretching. Now, I talk a lot about stretching, and everybody wants a stretch that'll fix something. Diffuse stretching is the best way to do it. We need to stretch the entire body, and if we're stretching the entire body, then we're maintaining optimal mobility. But we really want to think about how do we activate muscles while we stretch. Doing just static stretching isn't going to do a lot. We need to be walking through our stretches, just like when you're in high school and you have the walking line doing lunges with rotations, you're doing toy soldiers, kicking your legs up, doing things like that. Those active stretches are really effective at doing things on top of the static stretching. So when we do the world's greatest stretch, we're activating our glutes to inhibit the muscles in the front. We're activating the hip extensors so we can inhibit the hip flexors. And so that's a really effective way to get down deep into a stretch and make sure we're getting that optimal mobility. So they go hand in hand. If we want to maximize our strength, we take longer rest breaks and we really do heavier weight. And then if we want to maximize that optimal mobility, we need to be working in a warm-up that's doing active stretching, and then we need to do a cool down that's doing active stretching too. So after we have all that tissue perfusion, all that blood perfusion to the tissues, we're actually getting into those deeper positions so we can maintain that and you don't lose that, that mobility at the end range of the joints.
Awesome. Next question comes from @Nick4Dice. Best exercise for stretching runner's knee. It's outside of the knee when running on concrete.
Best exercise for stretching runner's knee. This one is debatable. Okay, so runner's knee is IT band syndrome, having pain on the outside of the knee. We're going to say from the beginning that we're not stretching the right things already if we're having runner's knee. And so if we want to get out of it, we need to work on the TFLs, or tensor fasciae lata. We just call it the TFL. It's a hip flexor that is attached to the IT band, and the IT band's the tendon. So everybody wants to roll out their IT band. Well, the IT band's a tendon, doesn't have a ton of blood flow, so then that's a problem. When we're trying to roll it out, we're not getting much movement out of it. We really want to attack the muscle. So doing a stretch, the first thing we want to do is some soft tissue work to that muscle. We want to open up that muscle. That muscle's clenched up, it's stuck. So we want to break up some of that tissue, loosen it up, and then we would want to stretch. So we can do a lacrosse ball, a foam roller, but we work on the TFL. So just look up that TFL, you'll see it, it's in the front, outside of the hip. We work on that, and then we go through the world's greatest stretch where we're getting into kind of a runner's position. We're flexing that back glute. If you really want to attack the hip flexor on that side, we would just angle the back foot inward so that we're stretching that TFL at the same time. Don't drop your hips down into it. You're going to start causing problems with your low back. So what we're going to do is just maintain that neutral position, turn the back foot inside, and then we're going to flex the glute as hard as we can to inhibit that hip flexor.